That's such a
Where are you right now? In New York?
yeah. Where are you? You seem to have like a really beautiful backdrop.
Thank you. Well, I'm in Mexico right now. Back home in Monterrey.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's been quite some sunny days, so we're pretty excited for summer coming up.
Yeah. I don't, well, I wonder, like, so when you think of summer and your own music, like, what is getting you excited? What is getting you hyped? Because summer's supposed to be the biggest time for all artists, and sometimes I feel like it's just so fast. It's too fast to be big.
Well, I mean, just like time has been flying for me for some reason. I've been having a good time, but here in Mexico, summer means a lot of things, like party, just having a good time with friends. Um, and I don't know, it's like the vibe that summer gives you. It's just like this really cool energy. Um, and many times it's like the break for a lot of people from work. So there's always this like, I don't know, friendly energy that I like about summer, and also like the sun, all the vitamins that the sun gives you, all that energy is something that I really like. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's just like that's the, but like in terms of your music specifically, like what do you feel summer's gonna be, this summer at least is gonna bring you? Because yeah, you're right. I mean, I was thinking about it yesterday. We're already in the fifth month,
That's crazy.
23.
Yeah. Well, for like me, musically, I'm like most of the music that's coming is very rhythmic. So Monterrey is very well known for the cumbia and for that cumbia song we have over here. And that's something that, people are gonna be listening to, and like in all the new music that's coming and all that influence that I've had throughout my life. And for me, it's been really important that my music kind of like reflects a little bit of all the music and all that culture I've been growing up with. But definitely people are going to be able to hear a lot of rhythm, a lot of music to have fun, to share with friends. And yeah, that's what's coming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it kind of makes sense in terms of you just explain how the thing that you love about um summer is its friendliness, and it seems like when you're describing the new music, it's that same vibe. You want people to come together.
Totally, and have a good time. I mean, we see it with different bands and different artists. We're like concerts now. Obviously, it's always an experience, but like knowing you're going to a party, I think that's been changing a lot, like in the Latin industry. That it's not only a concert; it's like you're gonna go to a party, you're gonna have fun, everyone's gonna be dancing, live music. Because like we go to a lot of parties and we see DJs and everything. I have a lot of cool friends that are super cool DJs, but there's nothing like having a band with live music. I think that changes like the energy completely in the room. So I think that's something I've been trying to like express throughout my songs, and like in the concerts. That's what I want people to feel. That they're going to a party and that they're gonna have a really good time.
That's actually really true because it made me think of the Bad Bunny concert and how like people were wearing
Yeah.
dark costumes and stuff. And there is this real party, like almost it's weird. It's like a party feel slash a cult reuniting.
Kind of, yeah. I
And
mean,
I
I don't
mean
know. I don't know why, but I think that you know, I know obviously it's been a while from that, but it was like 2 years, almost like 3 years, where people felt like so secluded and like nobody could do anything. So I just think that like all the music that was created in those 2 years from a bunch of artists was like that energetic music that people wanted to dance to. I don't know. I think that that's what's coming out. Um, and I don't know if that had like an impact in all the shows being like so energetic in that sense.
I think that did have an impact actually, and I never saw it that way, but it reminds me like I was making music and my mom overheard me, and she had come over, and she was like, make it dance, no bailar, no te deprime. And it's so it totally triggers exactly what you think, because I feel when I listen to new music, it's either like super experimental and orchestral, with like the
Yeah,
typical I'm sad lyrics, or it's like I want to dance. Like I've heard so many disco tracks lately.
yeah,
You know,
music, electronic music's coming really hard for
after
sure.
and it's like, wow, I mean, ABBA's making a comeback, I guess. But it is true that I think the pandemic made people want, I don't know, I don't know if it's necessarily dance music or something really ornate, something
I
decorative.
mean, well, like Latinos, we love to dance, we love to party, we love to have a good time with friends.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like just naturally, for that music to come out. And as you said, like for example, with the electronic music, you see the Latin influence also, like Marshmello doing songs with Manuel Turizo and doing like a merengue vibe. So I mean, I think that back then, and from a perspective of an artist, like many times people want to categorize like artists in certain like genres or styles or whatever. But I think that's kind of changing, and we see artists jumping from different genres of music that are quite different. Um, like for example, Peso Pluma, that right now is killing the charts, and he's representing Mexico. You hear him doing reggaeton. He's doing also like trap, but then he has his corridos with his own style. So
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. What's happening with music in that sense? Like artists can now express themselves freely without them like being categorized. And I understand that as an artist, it's important to like have your style so people identify you and can like understand what your flow and your vibe is.
Hmm.
But that's kind of cool that it's being accepted now that you can like do whatever you feel, and that's really cool.
I think there is more than ever a permission to be experimental.
Yeah,
I think that, like, especially Spotify, I think people's feelings with streaming obviously can be half and half, because good luck getting paid from it.
yeah.
But they have so many genres. Like Spotify was like, would you like to listen to sad, eclectic hip hop? And it's like, what?
that's that's really crazy. I mean, like for example, when you distribute music, many times they ask you like all these subcategories, and I think that that's helped a lot to actually get to the right people, to the people that actually want to listen to your style of music. So that's pretty cool, and in a way, it's been a tool for the artist to actually expand their brand and for their songs to be heard in different countries that maybe like if we didn't have these platforms we would never like be there. Like that's crazy because back then you had to go to the actual country or to the city, promote yourself, sing, like do a bunch of stuff. But now like you don't really have to go to different places. You can like be in your studio back home and you're like really, really, really far away, but there's a lot of people listening to you, and then you just like go when you know that people are actually, jamming to your stuff.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool too.
So when you think of your listener, how do they look like to you?
Well, there's definitely a lot of listeners from Mexico.
Yeah.
Um, but I've had the opportunity to go to different countries like Colombia that has a lot of like love for Mexican culture. That's something that really like impressed me when I went to Colombia for the first time. Well, when I went to Colombia for the first time, it was like 2016, and I just recorded a music video because back then my label like wanted to produce with a production team over there that were doing really cool stuff. They're still doing really cool stuff right now. But I went a couple years ago, and it was really crazy to go like into like this bars or clubs and see like a bunch of like Mexican artist pictures and like the whole Mexican vibe, and then you had like a mariachi band playing. So I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like I didn't know there was this kind of places here in Colombia. But yeah, like Colombia, Peru is also a country we've been to, and we have a really nice um club of fans that have been supporting my stuff, and I'm really like thankful for that. El Salvador, Guatemala, Costa Rica as well.
But
So
I mean, like, in terms of style, do they dress like you? Do they wear a lot of sunglasses? Like, I feel like when I go to certain concerts, the whole fashion changes. Like, suddenly
mm,
people are wearing beanies. If I go to Brooklyn, like a certain Brooklyn concert, like everyone
yeah,
is wearing beanies and a flannel shirt. I'm like, oh my God, we're in Phoebe Bridgers' concert, clearly. Like
yeah,
it's true. Like
it
like
does, it does.
it's almost as if, especially nowadays, when you think of people like Bad Bunny and stuff, like music can't just be the sound, it has to be the aesthetic. It has to be the
Visual, yeah. There's this saying that people I've heard like from quite a few people, but it's like the artist before being listened to, it's actually through the eyes. So it's like people get you first, they look at you first, and then they listen to you. I mean, not in every time, but many times it is like that. So what's really interesting, for example, with Mexican music is that back then it was the sombrero, you had the big hebilla, the boots, whatever. But now you're like, we can see like with my generation and younger generations that are doing regional music now, they have this hip hop influence as well. So you see them dressed up like with a snapback, with them shades, but they're singing regional Mexican music. So it's pretty interesting how cultures are kind of mixing. And even in, like, for example, regional Mexican music, you have not only visually and like fashion wise, but also um yeah, sorry, like fashion wise, you see all that influence in the hip hop, so that's pretty interesting to see like those um how would you call it, like mixes between genres.
yeah. And mixes between worlds. Like
Yeah,
I'm sure you have, is there a staple fashion piece to your look?
very, I would say so. Yeah, I think that definitely like the boots. I use a lot of boots.
Mm.
And like the big hebilla in my belt. I really love that. It's like part of the vibe here in Mexico, and like people, I love nature. I'm like outside as much as I can, and sometimes I go like to my grandfather's ranch, and I chill over there, and like it's the vibe. So I would say like
Yeah.
those two things are my statement pieces. But I've always loved fashion. I've always loved to experiment with clothing as well as music. It's like a form of expression, and I try to not like feel limited. Whatever I want to do, I try it out, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would say like fashion wise, those two things would be like my statement. And also like something I've realized is since a very young age, um, there's a lot of noise. I'm sorry. I don't know if did you
No, I
hear a
hear
lot of
you
noise?
perfectly. I hear
Oh,
you
okay.
perfectly.
Um, what was I gonna say?
It
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
like I realized like since from a very young age, I use a lot of camo. I love camo for some reason. So like I have a lot of jeans with camo. Like right now, my cap is camo. So
yeah.
that's weird, but I love it.
Maybe you were like a soldier in a past life, if you believe in that.
Maybe
You could have been a soldier and you're just
I
trying
could
to
have been a
camo,
soldier. I went to
camo
World
your
War
way
One.
through this
No, I'm
life.
just joking.
Maybe you never know. Life is weird. But I did, it's funny. I, as you were talking, it made me remember. I didn't, you were talking about friendly. Now you're talking about family. Like there's just, again, there's this overriding theme of you want people together under your music, right? So what attracts you to people? Like, what is something in terms of who a person is that you put not only in your music, but like that you want to see?
um, that's a very interesting question. I would say like generally somebody that gets along with everyone. I mean, it's weird for me to say this, but I consider myself an introvert. Like it's kind of weird, but sometimes like I just feel that I'm not that talkative, or like once I'm in like in confidence, or I know that like the person, I just like whatever, I just say whatever. But
Yeah.
sometimes that like when I'm meeting people, I'm like more reserved. In this case, it's different because we're having a really cool conversation about something we both love, which is like music and culture and all of
Yeah.
this fashion and all of this stuff. Um, but yeah, I would say like just people that um are are nice to like hang out with, just like easygoing people,
Yeah.
that like music, that like to be outside. Um, yeah, I would say that that type of people is like what I'm attracted to, or what I like. My friends are like that, so yeah.
It's just like so funny because you did like what all introverts do, which is say that they're an introvert and try to prove it. It's like I don't look introverted now, but like if you meet me in certain days and certain times with certain people, every introvert does that. And I think it's because a lot of introverts are attracted to the most extroverted thing, which is being artist.
That's yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because some girls I've been around with lately are quite extroverts.
Yeah. 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 I mean, well, yeah, it makes me wonder if there's a gender thing because no, I don't know. I think when you're a woman in the industry, you have to be a lot more extroverted, or your image is pushed to be a lot more extroverted. But I
Yeah,
definitely met more introverted guys. I wonder. But it's always the
that's
same.
interesting.
Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Maybe maybe like I don't know, like introverts are more sensitive to stuff, or like to feelings or whatever, and that helps a lot in the music. So I don't know, maybe that's why it lined up like that. But I don't know.
I don't know if it's sensitive to feelings because I'm an extrovert and I'm very sensitive to feelings.
Hmm.
What I would say what introverts like about being an artist is the ability to show who they are that they hide.
Hmm.
Like you go to every place and you're always in a corner and you're always hiding and you're always thinking about who you should talk to, if you should talk. What is the point? If you're going through all that thought process, there's something really exciting about a music interview like this, or a stage where you have to kind of be like, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an
So in my
opportunity.
case, like what it's been like, the way I see it or I separate it is like Mando is one part of me, but Armando, which is like my real name, that's that's the introvert. But Mando is the things that Mando needs that Armando doesn't have. That's who
Yeah.
Mando is. It's like, so that's why
Mando
like
has the
sometimes,
belts and the
yeah,
camo.
have the belt, is more extrovert, you know. Yeah, that's the vibe.
And
How
you,
do you
I'm
call
sure.
that? How do you call that? Like there's a term for that. Like when you have your second you, I don't know.
I
You know
think
what I
it's a
mean?
personality disorder. No, I'm just playing. I think it's a mental illness, but I can't remember the proper time.
The my alter ego.
Alter
That's what they said.
ego,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mando's
Yeah.
my is Armando's alter ego.
Do you feel like when he's coming, like you're just like Armando's like just sitting down and suddenly you're like, oh, Mando's here.
Mando's here.
Yeah, like do you feel it though, a little bit like the change, the inner change that like unlocks when Mando.
I felt it. Like if I'm like touring or whatever, or I'm like having a promo tour, or I'm just like making music, or I travel somewhere to make music, I'm naturally in Mando, and I've been like in Mando for quite some time. But sometimes I like just like switch back to like me, like personally, what I like, my space, whatever. You know, it's not that Mando. I don't like it. I love it. You know, I love everything about music and everything that I have to do. But sometimes I have to like try a little more because of the introvert thing. So like I don't know. Sometimes I felt it, but it's more like now a natural thing, like just happens.
Yeah. No, it seems like Armando's like, please calm down, Mando. And Mando's like, let you
Let's
know.
go party. Let's go
No,
make some
but
songs.
let's be the star of the room while
Yeah.
Armando's like, I just want to walk in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You described it perfectly.
One is
Literally.
peace and one is like power.
Yeah.
I dig that.
And the name says it. Like when I started my career, I've always considered myself like a pop artist. I mean, that's a quite uh big like genre or whatever. Like you could put it in a lot of places. Um, but like when I started, people because of my name thought that I was regional Mexican. And obviously I have a lot of influence, and especially now with like the cumbia and all of that, I would say that like my music is like Mexican music or like pop Mexican pop or whatever.
Cumbia Pop.
Um, yeah, like cumbia pop. Yeah, I would say that. I love it. Yeah, cumbia pop.
Okay.
But it was funny because of my name, people thought that I sang like completely another thing of what I actually do.
Yeah.
So I kind of own that now, the
Yeah.
Mando thing,
Yeah.
mandar. But it's not because of that. It's because of
Yeah.
my name.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like exactly what you should do. You should own yourself. I think that's why you're attracted to all that world. The opportunity to own yourself.
That's nice. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We've been like for 25 minutes right now
Wow.
doing this interview. Just wait 1 second because I usually get like these oracle cards and I try to send people like with positive vibes. But I
Okay.
don't know where I put them. So let me go look for them for 1 second. I'm
All
gonna
right. Cool.
mute with and
Okay. Cool.
ooh. Okay, these are it. Let me go. Okay. So let's see what's coming first for Mando.
Let's see. I
What's
love it.
positive for Mando? Ooh. Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's so fun. Ooh, okay. It's so interesting. So you got Akashic Library, which means looking into all that you've learned in life to create music. You got a fated meeting, which usually means love more than business. And you have
Okay.
the treasure, which means that like you're entering a time in your life where it's just gonna feel like a lot and like overwhelming, but not good or bad. It really is like kind of saying whatever comes, keep your focus on your goals.
Mm.
Because even like if you have a fated meeting of love, even love can be overwhelming in the
Yeah.
best way. So it's
Totally.
kind of like saying altogether, use your past to create the music you want and use your focus to put it out there because
Okay.
you're going to get a lot of life changes. And that's what I asked for Armando. So, what is Armando going to get?
Like,
So, it must mean that whatever you meet in love and business obviously is going to be connected to your artistry. So, and
I love it.
you're meeting a lot of extroverted girls or something. You're meeting a lot of introverts. Somebody's coming. Um, let me see, Armando. Yeah, it's so funny. You have like a lot of spiritual cards
Okay.
because
Wow.
I asked for you, Armando, regular guy, just walking through the nature, and you got Ark of Covenant and Akashic Field. So the idea Akashic is like it's this idea that everything our soul has this map, this library on how to be a spirit, on what to grow, on how to be a better human being. And you got that twice, both in your artistry and as a person.
Wow.
Akasha. So it means
That's
that
awesome.
it's like this pull to grow as a person, but also at knowing who you are as a person. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's going to be a lot of spiritual development tied to you as not only a person, but also in business. And if I pulled those cards, it means that they're coming now. And the last one
Okay.
is intricacies in industry. So again, it's kind of like it's funny they both got same cards and they are you, but it seems like you're gonna feel more of a fluidity between both. Because you were saying like there's a separation, one goes away, the other one
Yeah,
comes, and it's gonna maybe in terms of who you meet, what you create, the lines are gonna blur more, and you're not gonna need Mando or Armando to come and take over. They're just gonna become one. So
I
who knows?
love it.
Maybe you'll become more extroverted.
Maybe, maybe
Alien.
I am already more extroverted
Yeah,
than
I mean,
before.
it has to. I don't know how it couldn't, especially with how exciting it is to put yourself out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah,
That's awesome. Well,
yay.
very interesting. I love that piece.
Yeah, I love stuff like that because people need to be motivated, people need a hope,
Yeah.
and they need to go party. And
They need to
that,
go party and have a good time. Yeah. Sometimes we just like get so fixed up with whatever we want to achieve in life that we just forget to enjoy those little things, you know? Sometimes it happens, but we
yeah,
gotta keep enjoying.
life is meant to be enjoyed
Totally.
and have fun. Well, this was
Yeah.
so great. I love this interview and thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, Diandra. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for this conversation because, sometimes interviews are like the same questions. And I just love that we had like more than an interview. It was a really nice conversation and we talked about a lot of stuff. So I really appreciate it. And it was a